Hey guys, welcome back to playoff preview video. I have actually a panel of people here to help me out with this video. Like I said in my last battle, like I was going to try to do another playoff preview. I've done it the last couple years, and everyone seemed to kind of like it because there's the playoff draft that updates all the teams. I'm really excited to share with you guys what I got in the playoff draft. I feel like it's going to really help my chances to overcome hopefully the hump and pull out a championship. But I do have a few people with me here that I'm also going to share their opinions. First of all, we have the NGDL2 champion here, Soltfire. So go ahead and introduce yourself there, Saltfire.
Yo, what's up? It's cool to be here on the video.
Yeah,
Um,
so things didn't go your way this season, but you still have that Season 2 championship under your belt. So it's good to have you here.
yeah, for sure, man. Glad to
We
be here.
also have. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, we also have Captain Beanard of the Philadelphia Pidgeys, and he is making his first playoff appearance. So go ahead, Beanard.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Happy to be here.
Yep, and Beanard has a channel as well. I will leave the link to his channel in the description, and he has been posting his battles on this league, so make sure you check him out. And finally, we have. Oh, go ahead.
Also, the host of the Captain's Table, the best podcast you've never heard of. Just had to throw that out there.
There you go. A little plug there for Beanard. And finally, we have Tdit, who is already the interruptions. Yes, we also have Tdit here, who is kind of the he's one of the graphic designers for the NGDL and this channel. He's a really awesome guy. He's also previously coached in the NGDL, the Serbian Sevipers. So go ahead and say hi, Tdit.
What's up, everyone?
All right, that wasn't creepy at all. All right, so we have a little panel here. They're all heavily experienced coaches. So we're gonna, go through the teams. But first, we're gonna say, just answer the question: who even made the playoffs? And this is a very lovely graphic, which I'm sure you've already, noticed. And this graphic was put together by Tdit, so thank you, Tdit. But no, so it's very similar to the other ones I've done, but this one is a little more slick. I like it. But anyway, so the Miami Dolphiones did make the playoffs. Unfortunately, St. Louis did take care of business against Kentucky, so we're not going to win the conference. Instead, we're the third seed, which means we're going to be playing the Sylmar Sylvians. Meanwhile, the St. Louis Fletchinders is going to have a rematch there against the Kentucky Typhlosions in the first round. And on the other conference, of course, we have the Cincy Scissors, 11-1, one loss against me, I might add. So just saying. But he's going to be playing the 6-6 Jacksonville Fulhamites, coached by Fulham, the NGDL. No, he's not the N. Is he the champion? No, Fulham never did actually win because no, he lost to Soltfire in the NGDL2, but he was the runner-up in that league. And finally, of course, we have Beanard's Philadelphia Pidgeys against the Los Angeles Lucario. So those are the matchups. I'm going to go first into what happened in the playoff draft and what everyone picked up. So let's first begin with Miami. So this is my squad, as you guys probably recognize. You have, thanks, by the way, to Ominous Acid putting together these playoff draft updated images. So thanks for that. And as you can see, we brought back Tapu Lele from our Season 3 squad. And I believe this is a great fit because all season long we've been kind of wanting a fairy Pokemon. I kind of wanted to dip into the special side a little more because my team is very physical. And we also picked up Blastoise because I really wanted a Rapid Spinner. Another Water type would be good. And Blastoise kind of just fills up a lot of holes of my squad. Because we were kind of weak with the the hazards, but I really like what Tapu Lele brings to the table. Especially because we would be I mean, you guys might recall we did play Sylmar earlier in the season, and that Marshadow is absolutely frightening. So being able to shut down its priority will be pretty darn good. It'll also pretty much force him to go for a Scarf, I would think. Although I shouldn't probably be saying this because it's more of prep work. But I do like the synergy that I have. The Psychic Terrain helped immensely last season. And I was kind of, not to say happy that Alice didn't make the playoffs so I could take Lele back, but it was definitely a thing. And I couldn't believe it dropped to me. I thought Lele was going to fly off the board to one of the teams. But no, Lele did drop to me, and I drafted 5th. So 4 people passed up on it, and I am pretty happy about that. So yeah, that is what we did in the playoff draft. I don't know if anyone else wants to chime in about what they think about the Dolphiones selections in the playoff draft. I suppose not. Okay, all right, go ahead. We have Soltfire. Go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't actually see your playoff roster until just now. I didn't actually know you got Tapu Lele until about 10 minutes ago, but
There you go.
I think that you have definitely one of the most versatile rosters. I think that there are three like total. They're like super versatile, which I'll get into later. But I think yours is exceptionally versatile, and it'd be very very hard to prep for. Like if I was prepping for this team with my own, like I honestly don't know where I would start. So I think you got a very good shot here with this team.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Soltfire. So we're gonna have our hands full though because we do have. Oh, okay. Beanard, go ahead. Beanard also wants to chime in here.
Yeah, I just wanted to give my thoughts. I kind of have to agree. I think it's a strong team you got there, to say the least. I think the Tapu Lele was a great addition. Blastoise, I don't know. I thought there were better options out there for you, but you know what you're doing. So, yeah, overall, I think it's a strong squad, and it definitely has a great shot.
Well, yeah, Blastoise is more of a thing. You know, I needed a $5 pick, and I wanted something that because right now the only thing I have to get rid of hazards is defog. I really wanted a rapid spinner to not interrupt with my with my webs and stuff, and also something that's not weak to stealth rock in order to be doing the rapid spinning. And Blastoise seemed like a natural fit to me at the time.
Of course.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I had only $8 to work with, so I had to pick something NU or NU and BL below. So that's kind of what my thought process was.
Makes sense.
But as I said, gonna have my work cut out for me because obviously Sylmar Sylveons are just so good. Their Sharpedo 43 is just a really really. I mean, he's a great battler, but he's also an experienced, draft league battler because he has done so many draft leagues. And of course, it's that highlighted by that Marshadow. You might recall the battle against him came down to the wire. We were able to pull it out, thankfully. Kind of saved the season thanks to Leafeon. We did actually transform. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we did transform into Charizard X this week. Yeah, so we did that because I wanted to do that the first time. But let's go ahead and see what we're going to have to deal with here as he added a Moongus in the playoff draft. And that was his first pick. And then he added Volcanion. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the picks are, going to do to me. Now, he did pick a Moongus prior to me picking Tapu Lele. And that's what really sealed, like, okay, yeah, definitely Tapu Lele. To, obviously have that psychic connection to hit that Amoonguss. But Amoonguss, seems like a weird pick just because I have the Charizard already. So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I haven't done the prep work in this match yet, and this match should be going up Thursday. But I haven't really done the prep work in this match, but I'm a little confused by his picks. Now, Amoonguss is a very, versatile, bulky Pokemon. It's going to be tough to get around if I'm not able to super effective, but I do have a lot of Pokemon that can hit that guy super effectively, while Volcanion is always going to be a pain and a nuisance. So, does anyone want to speak on Sylmar? Well, I kind of missed that last thing, Tdit. Do you want to speak on Sylmar or Miami?
No, I just wanted to give some praise to Leafeon for how much work it put in for being a $1 pick.
Yeah, Leafeon was definitely saved a few games. It was actually pretty good. It was this season Sawbuck. I mean, you guys always know that I do like to have a little weather tech in my team, and the first selection of Charizard made that really easy. And Leafeon was a Pokemon I was trying to draft in that season before Sawsbuck, although Sawsbuck did great too. Yeah, does anyone want to give any thoughts about what Sylmar is doing here in the playoff draft? All right, go ahead, Saltfire.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I definitely agree with you. I'm very confused by the Amoonguss and Volcanion picks. Like, they are both, very great mods, but I don't think either of them really match up well against your team, to be honest. And plus, with you having Tapu Lele, that's huge because it shuts down Shadow Sneak on Marshadow, and I think you just have the overall edge here. I love Sharpedo 43. I think he has a very good roster, but I just think you have you really got the matchup here.
I mean, yeah, it's really going to come down to that Marshadow, I think. And you never know. That Amoonguss could come with the Psychic Resist Berry and just, dear God, and then just hit me with a Sludge Bomb. So who knows? That thing is bulky enough to probably pull it off. All right, so moving on to the other team in our conference, we have the St. Louis Fletchinders, who did win the conference. He was able to defeat the Kentucky Typhlosions in the final week and will now reface Kentucky. So they're going to have immediate rematch, which is really interesting actually to me because they just fought and now the playoff draft happened, so they're going to have to reapply. And who knows? Because Kentucky was already kind of clinched to that, so who knows how long, how much he was actually trying to win. Maybe he was trying to scout see what St. Louis was going to do. So while St. Louis did take that game, now they're going to have to rematch here. And let's just say right off the bat, kind of the other fairy in the playoff draft went to St. Louis, and that would be Magearna. Obviously, an incredibly powerful Pokemon. It can have, well, first of all, it can break speed parity incredibly well with either Trick Room or Shift Gear. It is probably the hardest hitting special Pokemon in OU. Incredibly good defensive typing and obviously incredibly potent. And he also added that. Why do I never remember this Pokemon's name? Someone help me. Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz. Yes, Mandibuzz. I always say Volcabby, but no, that's the pre-evolution. Mandibuzz is obviously a really bulky Pokemon that he can use to help get around some of Mr. Chabry's, which we're going to take a look at in a minute. Some of his more offensive threats, perhaps. Who knows? But, St. Louis has one of the better drafts. You might recall we played him twice. He was in our division. While I did actually sweep him this season, well, unfortunately, he still won the division, only losing one other game other than the ones against me to a 9-3 finish. So really, really good rebound there by Quilliams23. He's an excellent batter. He's going to be a hard one to get around, and he'll definitely be able to, do things with that Magearna. And I think Bernard wants to speak a bit about these picks.
Yes, I do. I want to say, first of all, I want to give all the credit in the world to Quilliams23 for being able to turn around the draft mishap in the beginning of the season and actually win the conference after that. I also want to say his roster is pretty insane. So I think he definitely has a really good shot at going all the way here this time around. I would like to point out that you mentioned he had 3 losses this season and 2 of them were to you, but I did want to point out that the other one was actually to me. So interesting.
Yeah. What I really do love about this roster, though, and I just want to gush over it for a little bit, he has some blazing Pokemon. So he has he already had the speed. He had the Raikou, he had the Infernape, he had the Scolipede, and of course the Garchomp, which is never going to be Mega, but and the Noivern. But he also has these weird, really slow Pokemon. And that's the thing when I was prepping for him that I noticed is that he has weird speed tiers. He has really fast Pokemon and really slow Pokemon, and not a whole lot in the middle. But look out for that Trick Room Magearna, because Trick Room with his squad can be absolutely deadly because he has some really slow Pokemon that can also hit really hard to definitely abuse Magearna. So he does have those fast Pokemon, but he does have those really slow Pokemon. So that's the other thing with Magearna that you really have to watch out for. And I think Soltfire wants to also say something about St. Louis.
Yeah, so earlier I mentioned that there are 3 rosters that I think are extremely versatile, and I believe they do have the best shot at taking home the cup. Q Williams being one of them, the other one being yours, and there's one other which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, there's just so much versatility with his, especially with Trick Room, and he could use Mega Garchomp in a Trick Room team if he wanted to. I'm sure that could be.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, and then I remember, I think it was last season. Yeah, he met his end due to a Shift Gear Combine Magearna, which is pretty busted. And I do kind of have a bias towards a Garchomp Magearna core because I used a team like that when I was laddering in OU back in the day, and it is super, super strong. So I definitely think Hugh Williams has a real good shot here at going all the way.
Awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the team that St. Louis is going to be facing. My bane this season, the frickin' Kentucky Typhlosions. Now, he just scraped into the playoffs at 6-6, but 2 of his wins were against me, and it's that stupid Palkia that is obviously highlighting the roster. And I know that every time I mention Palkia, people always mention the pronunciation. I don't even care. It sounds cooler than Palkia. Get over it. That's how I'm pronouncing Palkia. But in the playoff draft, Now he had a little bit less money to work with as the actually bottom seed in both conferences. He had a little bit of less money to work with, but I think he did a pretty good job with working with what he got. He picked up the Thunderous Therian, which is a Pokemon that's always kind of undervalued there in this league at $25. It's something that I've used in the past as well. It's Blazing, which goes, I think, well with his team. And the Uxie, which is another Pokemon, another ex-Dolphion, who can also add some much-needed bulk to his team. So he's obviously looking to fend off some of the more offensive threats that Quilliams 23 has. And the right side of Uxie, can actually, wall quite a bit of Quilliams' squad. So obviously he has actually lost twice to Quilliams this season. So he probably has some good ideas about how he might be able to counter them with these picks. Does anyone have any thoughts about how Quilliams can counter St. Louis? All right, go ahead, Beanard.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think Mr. Chabry's squad is pretty interesting. Obviously, he has the powerhouse Palkia, but yeah, it's kind of strange. I've been watching his games over the season, and he's kind of an odd battler, in my opinion. And he brings some interesting sets, makes some interesting choices in battle, and I don't know if he can actually overtake Quilliams in this match. Personally, I think that on paper, I think despite having the Palkia, I think that Quilliams definitely has the upper hand. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Mr. Chabry, because this guy just dominates me in draft leagues. Like, I don't think I've beaten him in a draft league. I think we've played like four times.
Everybody has somebody.
So
who has
my
their
nemesis.
Yeah. Oh, I have one of those that I want to talk about later. but I
But
hear you there.
yeah. So I mean, Mr. Chabry. I mean, this is actually the team I don't want to see in the freaking finals. If I get past Sharpedo, I'd much rather deal with Quilliams. I know the Quilliams is a great battler, but I mean, Quilliams. If anyone's Quilliams' nemesis, it's me. Let's face it. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. Tdit also wants to say something about Kentucky. Go ahead, Tdit.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue when you battle Mr. Chabry is the team mismatch. Like, you had no fairy really to battle Palkia until you got the Tapu Lele, which should make it easier now. And Quilliams' team is a pretty good match against him, so I'm not worried for him at all.
All right. So we're actually done now here with the my conference, the Sevipers conference. We're gonna move into the Kanto conference now, and you can't really. I mean, there's one team that's kind of like the elephant in the room when you're talking about the Kanto conference, and that is Visualize Cincy Scissors. And this team went 11-1. He is the NGDL3 champion. So I mean, you're gonna look at a team that you're gonna say is the favorite going in. It really has to be Cincinnati. And he made his team even scarier somehow. Now, it obviously is highlighted there by the Arceus, but he made himself even scarier in the playoff draft, bringing Mimikyu, which, of course, is a great draft Pokemon, in my opinion, just because it has that guaranteed, I'm going to live at least one hit. So, it's a Pokemon that you can go into when, your opponent is set up and you have that guaranteed turn to do something about it, which is a really actually rare quality. And, of course, he has the Megalodios? Megalodios, I think, not Latios. I'm looking at the team. I think that's Megalodios. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, go ahead, Soltfire. You want to talk about Visualize here?
Yeah, so again, with the top three teams, this here is my number one pick overall, not just because, he's, the season 3 champion, but overall his roster is just so damn powerful. The Arceus and Megalodios core is super, super, super scary. Not to mention the Mimikyu as well, and, just every time I watch one of Visuali's battles in draft leagues, I just think to myself, there's no way I would think to prep for any of that stuff. But when I battled him earlier in the season, and he sent me his team after he pretty much destroyed me. I was just shocked. Like, he brought sets for things I didn't even think existed. I mean, it's just crazy. So I think he definitely has the upper hand here in this entire conference.
He definitely likes to prep, I've noticed, on the side of unpredictability. Yeah, Beanard?
Yeah, I hate to beat a dead horse, but I have to just kind of chime in and agree with both of you guys here. I mean, this guy is just insane when it comes to battling specifically draft leagues. He knows what he's doing. The numbers don't lie; they speak for themselves. You know, last season champion, 11-1 this season. The team is just a powerhouse all around. The thing about watching visually play that always amazes me is the fact that he always seems to have something for every situation, and he never seems unprepared for anything, and he can put a broken set on pretty much any Pokemon in the game, like last season with the infamous Licky Licky last season. So I mean,
strong.
the guy's just a monster. He is the draft league destroyer.
Well,
Copyright.
it is one man, unless everyone else wants to chime in about Cincy, there's one man who now has to deal with Cincy, and that is the NGDL2 runner-up, and that would be Fulham, and his Jacksonville Fulhamites, who also has an incredibly interesting roster. And he was obviously tasked with going into the playoff draft, having to, try to derail the, Cincy Scissors RCS and try to find a way. And dear God, ominous. Why did you? Okay, infinite price tag on the Shuckle. Okay, I just noticed that now. But whatever. It's not banned. First of all, but okay. Tdit, I'll get to you in a minute. Yeah. So Jacksonville, trying to overcome the RCSC, made two pretty interesting playoff draft picks. Now he was also on the lower end. He's the bottom seed of his conference, having to face Cincy first. He's an excellent battler. Like I said, he's the NGDL2 runner-up. He had a bit of hacks against him. I really thought in preseason that this team was very, very strong, with a wide variety, being highlighted by the Tapu Koko and the Greninja. And he's adding Ditto as one of his first pick, which is interesting. Maybe trying to steal that Arceus sweep. Who knows? And of course, Bisharp, which is an interesting $20 pick. It's a Pokemon that I don't really think it kind of gets overlooked in the NGDL because I think its price tag is a little high for what it can do in a draft league that's so centralized around speed. But what it does incredibly well, and it actually does have quite a few resistances against some of Visualized Core that might be able to help him. So go ahead and speak what you want to say, Tdit.
Yeah, I don't think Ham can win this. His team is
Wow.
too weak to hacks.
Go ahead.
I said that his team is too weak to hacks,
It's too weak to hacks.
Although I did notice that every draft he brings like the same specific Pokemon, so he always tries to do the same strategy, which is interesting.
And he just cut off. That's okay. Soltfire, did you want to say something?
Yeah. Obviously I'm a huge Fulhamites fan this season, but my bias aside, I think the Fulham is probably, and the entire Kanto conference, I think Fulham probably has the best shot at beating visually, just because I personally like how his roster matches up. Aside from Arceus, if Fulham can somehow cripple the Arceus or just even get rid of it, like even better.
Oh, get rid of that's one of the big keys.
Yeah, I know, like that's a big key, but like hear me out. Like if he can somehow cripple the Arceus, then I think the rest of his roster just matches up against visually just super, super well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's really interesting how the rosters, and I'm glad you brought this up, kind of balance out against, because you have, like, first of all, you have the Koko and the Greninja, which match up against Arceus so poorly, but then you have some of the other Pokemon in Fulham's team that can actually match up really well against Arceus. And he came close against Visualize in the regular season. He lost both times, being in the same division, but he did come close that last game. I watched that game. That was a close match.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so that's going to be an interesting match, one to watch for sure. If you are subscribed to Visual Eye, I'm sure he'll post it on his channel. But let's go ahead and go in, and you know what? I'm going to actually let, since we do have Captain Beanard here, I'm going to let him go ahead and introduce his two playoff draft picks and what he was thinking. So go ahead and take the floor, Beanard.
Oh, wow. Thank you. All right. So in the playoff draft, I chose to grab a couple of interesting Pokemon. I first went with Como-O, obviously a huge powerhouse. A lot of sweeping potential, both on the physical and the special side. A lot of different sets you can run with it. So I felt that the versatility and the power sweeping potential of this Mon was really what made it worth bringing in here. And then, of course, the second pick was the Galvantula. Shout out to Fat Jesus, who didn't quite make it, but that's okay. But I grabbed that because of sticky web support, obviously, and then being able to volt switch and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty decent addition as well. So that about covers it. I think they match up relatively well with the rest of my roster as well. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I actually did really like. I mean, obviously, you were one of my favorite teams in the preseason power ranking video. So I'm glad you proved me.
You're right.
Proved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you proved me right.
I tried.
This is why this is a little awkward for me, because sometimes when I make mistakes on videos, I'll just edit it out and just go back. I can't really do that right now. But no. So we have Como O, which is an ex-Dolphione, and I'm sure you're gonna try to be using Commonium with it.
I can't tip my hat on.
Well,
that
but that's one of the reasons. That's one of its key features, right?
Points.
Yeah, big selling points. And of course, I do love the pick of Galvantula, because your team is a little bit on the slow side. You don't have you don't have really anything super blazed in there, so it definitely takes advantage of the sticky webs, because none of your Pokemon are. I mean, you have a couple that are really really slow, but
actually,
most of them are kind of like middle. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was pretty down the middle. I don't have anything super fast or super slow for the majority, but it's funny because I was actually planning on drafting Galvantula in the original draft, but I didn't get to it because Jesus grabbed it as his second pick, I believe. So this was kind of like my redemption or my chance to get it back. So
well, yeah, I was actually going to draft Galvantula in the second round too. I mean, no, the second round, no, that's when I picked up Charizard. But my pick after that was Araquanid. That was going to be Galvantula if Galvantula was there.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna actually I had to wait till 4 because I wanted to get my Fairy Dragon Steel Core set up, but my fourth pick was going to be the Galvantula. Although I kind of knew in the back of my mind it wasn't going to be there. But
Does anyone else
dream, right?
Right. Does anyone else want to talk about Beanard's picks here? Guess not. All right, so moving on to the Los Angeles Lucario, who is tasked with, taking on the Philadelphia Pidgeys, and they were conference rivals. I believe they split the season. Did you split with him, Beanard?
Oh, he actually swept me, which is what I wanted to talk about in just a second after you go over his team. Okay,
gotcha. I thought you guys split, but no, apparently he swept you. All right, so this is an interesting matchup because you were obviously the division winner, the higher seed. But he actually got you 2 times, so he's kind of I guess he's your Mr. Chabry. And in the playoff draft, he picks up 2 UUs. He decides to go with Scissor, which obviously has that great great priority, and Zeraora, who is one of the most blazing Pokemon around with its huge base speed. No, but it is kind of weak to those sticky webs. I think Los Angeles is in a position that he can outspeed you with quite a few Pokemon, but he also has some really slow Pokemon, so it's going to be an interesting matchup. So I'll let I'm going to go ahead and go to Soltfire and then Beanard. Go ahead, Salt. Oh, sorry, Soltfire. Let's go to Beanard.
Gotcha. So, I was going to say this
and then Soltfire.
Yeah, this was the team that I was talking about obviously before. He is my Mr. Chabry, yes, actually. So yeah, he got me twice. Crash is he's a good player. He's got a really nice team behind him. I think that his team just kind of matches up pretty well against mine for one reason or another. And he's an interesting player. He makes a lot of unorthodox decisions in battle. He brings some unorthodox sets to battle. So I'm interested in playing him again. I hope I can beat him. To be honest with you, I don't know if I can because his team is just really strong, especially bringing in the Scissor, because that was one of the big edges that I thought that I had over him in the regular season was him not having access to a Steel type the entire season, I believe. But that now he has the Scissor, which is obviously a really good Steel type. So I don't know if I can take him, but I am going to give it my all, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so it looks like Tdit and Soltfire want to talk. So go ahead, Soltfire.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't really like Crash's roster that much. I think he out of
Whoa,
the.
shots fired.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think out of the. I mean, I do like it, but like for his matchup, I don't really like it that much. I mean, the Scissor was a great pick. I kind of snagged the Scissor towards the end there, hoping it would do some stuff for me instead of Cartana, but it didn't. But I don't know. I kind of like Beanard's roster against Crashes. If Beanard plays it right, I definitely think he can win. And I wasn't really sure about the Zera Aura. I can't pronounce it. Zera Aura. I
I
mean,
think that's
maybe
it.
yeah. I mean, maybe he could do something against Beanard, but I'm not sure. Like, it kind of lacks the physical and special power. I mean, it's more of just like a big speed threat, which he doesn't really need against Beanard's overall slow roster. So, I mean, just kind of
Maybe he's
adds
thinking past.
something to
Maybe
his
he's looking past Beanard to either
Yeah, that
Cincy
is
or
true.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I think Zerora would be a good matchup against Fulham if Fulham were to beat visually and it'd be Crash versus Fulham. Then I think it matches up really well, especially against Tapu Koko with the Volt Absorb and the type advantage against Greninja. So, I mean, you never know. That could be true. But yeah, I think it's probably one of the weaker teams in this conference. But, I'm not going to doubt Crash. He does, like Beanard said, make some very weird plays. Remember my last battle this season. It's probably the battle I actually tried the hardest in, but I still got kind of power clapped. He just made some decisions and made some prep that I just really wasn't expecting, and made some decisions that I'm like, okay, why did he do that?
Well, let's put some respect in
Yeah.
his name. He is now a
Yeah, of
two-time
course.
playoff contender here. This is the second
Yeah,
year in a row he's made it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely doing something right. So props to him. I'll tip my hat off to him for sure. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll make something. Maybe he'll make it work.
All right,
I'm not
and
gonna doubt him.
fair enough. And real quick, Tdit, you wanted to mention something?
I have no idea what his mindset is, but I really like his team. I mean, he doesn't have any super crazy stuff on it, but I've been watching his battles, and so many people have had issues with him, especially dealing with his Snorlax sets. And it's nuts. Like, I love it. I don't know what he's doing, but he's good, man.
Man, we have a Los Angeles Lucario fan here in the audience, and Tdit. So there you go. Do you think he's going to beat Philly for the third time this season, Tdit?
I mean, I do think it, but I don't
Whoa!
want to jinx it. But,
Okay, well,
you know.
actually, that I should probably be saving that because I do want to go into now just predictions. So we went over everything in the playoff draft, so we're going to go into a few predictions. Let's go ahead and just start from the left and go to the right. So we're going to actually go. We're just going to with the Kanto Conference. So the first matchup obviously is against the Cincinnati Scissors against the Jacksonville Fulhamites. I think let's go ahead and not only predict who the winner is, but what you think the score is going to be. And we'll do this in the same order. I'll go first, and then we'll go to Soltfire, Captain Beanard, then Tdit. So, as for me, I think Cincy, I'm going to give the edge to the champion. He has to be the favorite right now. I do like Fulham's odds. I like what he did in the draft. I think it's going to be a close one, and I do respect Fulham as a battler, but I can't logically, give him the edge against Visual Eye. I'm going to go with it's going to be a 2-0 game in the favor of the Cincinnati Scissors. So go ahead, Saltfire.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be 2-0 victory in the favor of Fulham this time.
Whoa!
2-0 or 1-0. And, I'm a Fulhamites fan, so there's, a little bit of bias here, but I think Fulham has something in mind with his two picks. I wasn't, super, keen on the Bisharp, but maybe there's something I'm missing there, but the Ditto for sure will help maybe keep visually, thinking twice about setting up with SD extreme speed. So we'll see. I think Fulham's gonna make something happen here. So yeah.
So there you go. Predicting the upset. Go ahead, Beanard.
I am gotta go with visually. I would agree it's probably going to be a 2-0. So forgive me for copying you, Nacho, but that's
no problem.
That's what I'm going to say. Because how do you bet against visually? You just can't bet against visually. Now, I think that Fulham does have a great team, and he's given himself the best shot that he can possibly give himself to get the win. But having said that, I just don't feel like it's going to be enough to stop visually.
All right. Tdit?
I think Ham's gonna be kind of confident about this battle because he brought
Really?
the Ditto. But, like, all visually has to do is put a chill on berry on his Arceus, and yeah, that Ditto's gone.
So you're gonna pick Cincinnati?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't give a score. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
You have to give a score.
Okay, I'll give a 3-0, whatever.
There you go, 3-0 to Cincinnati for Tdit. All right, so let's go ahead into Philadelphia against Los Angeles. As for me, this is an interesting game because you have LA who swept Philadelphia, but obviously Philadelphia had the better season. I'm gonna double down here on Beanard. I loved his roster going in. I'm gonna say it's a 1-0. It's gonna be a rough match. Gonna be a slugfest. I think he can get over that hump. Go ahead, Soltfire.
I think it's gonna be close, but I honestly can't tell you who's going to win. I think this one's a coin toss.
Gun to your head, man.
Yeah.
Pick
Guns
someone.
in my head. Crash. Sorry, Beaner. I think
1-0?
Yeah, it's like 51% chance Crash wins, 49% chance Beanard wins. 1-0 or 2-0. Yeah, it's. I think it's gonna be close.
All right, go ahead, Beanard.
Oh, this is asking me who I think is going to win my match.
Go ahead. I'm going to pick my game. Go ahead.
No, I know. I'm going to try to keep my bias out of it. I really don't know, to be honest with you. If I gun to my head, I have to say I think I can do it. I'm going to say me, but maybe me on like a 1-0, I want to say, because I feel like to be blunt about it, I feel like I learned my lesson because, to be honest, I feel like I made some mistakes in my previous games with them, and I feel like I learned my lesson, and I feel like I can get the job done this time, although it's not going to be easy, and almost as easily as I could see myself winning, I could see myself losing because it happened twice before. So I would say me on a 1-0, but I do appreciate the vote of confidence from you once again.
All right, Tdit.
I got to stick with Crash, of course, but I would think that Beanard wouldn't let himself be swept again, so I'll give him a 2-0 for it.
So you're going with Crash for a 2-0?
Yep.
All right. So we're going to go into my game next. Sylmar Sevipers against the Miami Dolphiones. As for me, I mean, this is a guy I did defeat in the regular season, but Sharpedo43 is an excellent battler. It's a battler that, he's a battler that always, seems to match up well against me. Not to the extent of Chabri, but a guy that I always is going to bring, things that are going to mess me up. I do like the prep I did with the Tapu Lele. I think I can win this match, and I think I have the advantage here. I know that I didn't feel like I had the advantage in the regular season, but I think after the playoff draft, I think I do maybe have the advantage there. And obviously, it's always going to be rough with the Marshadow. It's an incredibly scary Pokemon, so I have to be very, very careful. But I think I can win, and I think I'm going to win 2-0. Go small. Go ahead, Saltfire. What do you think about this match?
I think you definitely have the edge. Now, Sharpedo43 has been a very close friend of mine for years, so like not to put him down or anything, but I think you just simply have the edge. That Zardex just does so much to his team, and on top of that, you have the Tapu Lele, which shuts down Shadow Sneak, which is one of Marshadow's signature strategies. So I mean, he'll probably end up bringing Shadow Sneak, I would think, but I don't think it'll work out for him. So we'll see. He may end up running some kind of different set, like a Scarf Marshadow or something.
I'm kind of thinking Scarf Marshadow, but I shouldn't say that. But yeah, prep work. But Scarf Marshadow makes sense to me.
That's just my speculation, though. I definitely think you have the edge. I think you win a 3-0.
All right, go ahead, Beanard.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with both of you guys on this one. I'm gonna say something similar about Sharpedo that I did about Fulham. I think he's a good player. I think he's got a good team, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to overtake his opponent, in this case you. I just think you have the edge over him on paper, and the Marshadow is a threat. It is 100% a threat, but I think that you have the answers for it, and I think that you're going to get it done. So I'm going to say you're going to get that win on probably a 2-0, I would say. Maybe.
Okay, kind of cut it off there. Tdit, it is all you. Are you going to predict the upset or stick with the crowd?
Well, I mean, I mean, looking at the teams, the only way Sharpedo's really gonna win is if he gets you with some crazy berry that you don't expect, or if he has a really weird set. I don't know. It just I don't think it matches up very well, and the Pokemon you got don't really help with that. It's strange. I'm gonna give you the win too, but I'll give you a 1-0 though.
Okay. So finally, we have the St. Louis Challengers against the Kentucky Typhlosions. Now, just an interesting matchup, just because St. Louis did beat Kentucky twice. ND obviously won the conference at 9-3, the second best record in the league after Visualize 11-1. So I'm gonna probably give the lean here to Quilliams again. Now, obviously, with the Palkaya, it's always going to be something something he's going to have to overcome. But I think Quilliams' roster is just so scary, and he seems to have Mr. Chabry's number. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give him a 3-0 over Kentucky. Fulham. Or sorry, why did I say Fulham? Because your name is Fulham on the thing. Saltfire, go ahead.
I think Q Williams has the huge matchup here. I think he's going to win 4-0 over Kentucky, simply because Garchomp just pure revenge kills Palkia, and then Migurna pretty much shuts down most of his team. And if that Steelix goes down, then Scolipede can pretty much kill everything on his team if it gets set up. So unless Kentucky gets Stealth Rocks up to break a sash on Scolipede or something, Scolipede gets one Swords Dance, and yeah, he's dead. And Williams also has the option for Aqua Tail, so Z Hydro Vortex or whatever against the Steelix. And that's an option too. So I just think Q Williams has a huge edge here. So yeah.
All right, Bernard.
Once again, I'm going to have to agree with you guys, except for I'm going to go a little bit bigger, and I'm going to predict Quilliams getting the win here on a 5-0. No disrespect to Chabry, because like I said, I think he's a good battler. He's got a good team, but once again, I just feel like on paper he's just overpowered by Quilliams' team. The matchup is just so clearly in Quilliams' favor, and I think the last battle that they had just last week was really a showcase of that. Now, granted, I know things have changed a little bit with the playoff draft, but I don't really see the choices that Mr. Chabry has made really curving that much. I think that Quilliams just has the matchup, he has the number, he has it on paper. I just got to give it to him.
All right, and last but not least, Tdit.
Well, I think Chabry's Thundurus can help him with some of Quilliams' Mons, but Quilliams still has the bigger advantage. But I'll give him a smaller win of like a 2-0. I think it'll go like that, maybe.
All right, and there's one more question I have for each of you. We'll go ahead and let's start in the reverse order. Tdit, you're gonna be in the spotlight here. You're gonna be on the clock here. Who do you think wins the entire league? Go Tdit.
Crash.
All right.
Yes.
He's picking the LA Lucario. We have like a LA Lucario homer here. Jesus. Okay, Bernard, who wins the league?
I gotta go with visually, man. He's just too good. Like I said, the numbers don't lie. And he's just got everything going for him, in my opinion. I think the only way that he loses is that somebody has to pull some crazy stuff that nobody's ever seen before to take him out, and I don't think anyone, myself included, is going to be able to surprise a veteran like him to that degree. So I gotta play it safe, and the smart money's on visually, man. You can't doubt the guy.
All right, Salt.
I think the winner will be Q Williams, and here's why. If Fulham beats visually, I think Fulham will make it to the finals, and I believe that Q Williams has a matchup against Fulham. Then if it's visually versus Q Williams, which of course is very likely as well, then I think the edge is still kind of in Q Williams' favor. He has a lot of stuff there that can deal with Arceus. He has experience dealing with Arceus in the past when you had it, Nacho.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of want to give Q Williams the edge here. I think this is his year.
All right. As
I'm
for
also
me,
a big Fletchers fan.
There you go. You're a Fletchenders fan and a Fulhamites fan. What will happen if it's actually a Fulhamites Fletchenders? He'll be like torn apart.
That's a tough one. I don't know. We have to get there first.
And as for me, I think this is definitely the year of the Miami Dolphiones. Which is our year, damn it. I'm picking myself because I have the confidence and I believe I have a good team. And if I can, hopefully St. Louis will just knock off Chatbury for me. And I've beaten these guys already, so I mean I don't want to downplay them. They've both had terrific seasons, Sharpedo and Williams. But I think if I can get to the championship, I might have a shot against Visual Eye. I want another shot against Visual Eye. Or whoever comes out on top of that conference. So yeah, so that is it here for the playoff stream, playoff preview. I hope you guys kind of liked this more of a discussion-esque thing as opposed to me just talking for 40 minutes. But yeah, so hopefully now you guys have a little, your palate is a little wet for some NGDL content that's coming through, and hopefully you guys will stop by. Like I said, Thursday is when the battle, or it should be Thursday night, when the battle against Sylmar is dropping, and that will be a premiere as always, and it depends on how long the battle is, but that will be Thursday. That is 2 days from now, so got to get prepping there. But yeah, thanks for watching, and that's all I really have to say. Does anyone else have any closing statement? Go ahead, Beanard.
Yeah, just want to throw out there that I believe Friday is the day that I will be playing Crash in my matchup. So I will have that up on my YouTube channel as well, probably either Friday or Saturday if you guys want to watch, win or lose, and hopefully it's a good one.
All right, Soltfire, you said you want to say something?
Shoes off if you love Fulham, guys. Shoes off if you love Fulham. I'm a big Fulham Eyes fan. Go Fulham, go Fulham. Shoes off if you love Fulham. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is all. On that note, that is pretty much it for this playoff stream. See you guys. Yeah, on Thursday. Bye. Go Dolphiones.